Greetings, it's Susie Q here with automatic writing associated with the Akashic Records. And so I'm going to go ahead and just give a little bit of just a little bit of details about how I work with my automatic writing. I've been doing it for 15 years, and it's been interesting. I work with all kinds of different ways of being, how people are experiencing life, good or bad, or I always say it's a neutral space, but this piece here is really uh, kind of amazing that it stood out. This one stood out. I was hoping it would be something different, but this is what's coming through today with some of my automatic writing pieces. And a lot of times when I'm looking and reading the written pieces that I've done through automatic writing via the Akashic Records, I can't really remember exactly what the experience was or why that showed up. It just showed up. All right. And this one is really about incarceration. Incarceration. It's kind of a big word for me. But I'm going to go ahead and do the automatic written piece, and then we'll kind of dial into it and see what we can get some more guidance there. The accused stood before a riotous crowd of onlookers, misshapen, distorted wooden faces, with strings attached by threads from clouds. They say he's been found guilty of treason. He looks upwards to lofty puppeteers smoking Cuban cigars and bellies full of swine. He exclaimed, "You can pull the box from my feet, but you can never attach your strings." So, wow. Um, so this has been interesting because I was working with incarceration and people that have been in jail or been imprisoned, whether it was right or wrong. And so that was some of the energies that was coming through today. And it's kind of weird because it's like most of the time I want to be like uplifting and everything, but I think this is uplifting. I think it is uplifting in a way. So when we look at the formula for creating this written piece, when I go back and look at it, I look at what we call there's three steps. So the first step is what we call an experience, event, something happen. And when we look at this piece here, is that it's why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And sometimes I say too, with the work that I do, it could be part of my Akashic records. It's kind of a mystery to discern, is it mine or is it somebody else's? But I'm guessing that a lot of this written piece is probably from my records. So the experience was, why did this happen to me? Unjustified, accused wrongly, despair, sadness. And then what I found from reading this morning is looking at that reflection. That's where you get more guidance, more understanding, more sense of, just feeling lighter in the body. And the reflection here says, I am free, I am free, I am free. Now, I don't know how long that incarceration was or what happened, but that person finally came into an experience. It could have been a day that they found that, or it could be 30 years that they were in reflection and finally, feeling that sense of freedom, finding that sense of freedom within self. And then the automatic writing is basically just all about the incarceration. Of course, I did a lot of this with some of the other pieces related to incarceration and people prisoned. And all of these things are just showing up. But this is something that I was like not expecting today, but this is the one that came up and it was shown. And so I'm going to read it again so you can kind of get the feeling of the feeling tone of this piece. The accused stood before a riotous crowd of onlookers, misshapen, distorted wooden faces with strings attached by threads from clouds. They say he's been found guilty of treason. He looks upwards to lofty puppeteers, smoking Cuban cigars and bellies full of swine. He exclaimed, "You can pull the box from my feet, but you can never attach your strings." Wow, so that's pretty powerful. And when I look at it too, I keep thinking that with this automatic writing piece here is that I believe now it's taken me like years, like you talk about reflection. It's taken me years to really understand where this information comes from and why is it that I'm writing it and what's happening. And I do believe now, looking back in time, looking at some of my Akashic records, and the Akashic records are where everything is stored. It could be the Book of Life or the Book of Souls, but now that I'm kind of going deeper and working with the formula, I'm kind of noticing that I'm guessing that those might be these might be part of my soul's expression with all of this written material. I don't even know if I believe that, but I'm kind of thinking that that's probably another version of my soul's expression, not as Susie, but as another person from another timeline, past, present, future, concurrent running timelines. There's just so many beautiful pieces, and I was hoping to get a more beautiful piece, but I think what I'm finding for myself with automatic writing associated with Akashic reading or the records is I'm just kind of noticing I think these are the stories of my life, not as Susie, but the stories, like maybe it's the stories of my soul's expression, maybe that. So anyway, so this has been really interesting. I was looking for another written piece that was more sweet and kind and generous, but this one just kept showing up. And when I was doing this, it was a number of years ago that I was working with people who were incarceration, and they weren't. It wasn't justified. It was unjustified. So anyway, I think that's it for now. I don't know what else to say. Just noticing that the correlation between the Akashic records from possibly my soul's expression is coming through the automatic writing. So I think that's it for now. It's a quickie here, but just kind of notice, the stories of your lives and just start noticing the experience and what's happening, good, bad. I always say it's neutral. But if you're in a situation that's really bad, you can't find that neutrality at that point. But you can start just being ready to receive more goodness and more guidance. And with that reflection, it could be a day that you could get the reflection and get more understanding, or it could take you 25, 30, or 40 years to finally find that essence, that what is right for me now, and everything that came before this, it's already gone. It's receded from my consciousness. The subconscious mind has receded from that storyline or that experience. And then we just move into automatic writing. And I think a lot of people right now are looking at different ways of creating solutions for good things or things that they need to get rid of. And I think that this piece here is really sharing the goodness that you could have a kind of a really tumultuous experience, and then finding over time, definitely with this story, is that you just become free. You free yourself of what might have been right or wrong, and then you move into automatic writing. So these are beautiful bands of energies, beautiful ways of looking at life, and also just kind of leaning into a better way of living, a better way of living. So I hope that for you. I hope that for you, a better way of living and a better way of being. All right, so I think that's it, and namaste.